Spend a weekend.
Excuse me, I'm sitting next to him. Please do not challenge that. Thank you.
Challenge accepted.
Decorations, guys.
I put them up yesterday.
I'm a fan.
10 seconds. Where's the dreidel?
Phone.
$399, iPhone 16, $399. Vem aproveitar. A maior. Que loucura! Vamos, gente! Cuidado!
Yep, that footage right now is all the crackheads trying to get to Joe Biden for a pardon right now. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Rudowski here of the best politicoshow.com, and we are going to be going live for the next 2 hours discussing all the latest and craziest stuff developing right now, as of course there never is a shortage of stuff to talk about in the ever so crazy political landscape that we are all in. As Hunter Biden officially got pardoned, what is really happening here, as there's some conspiracies surrounding that particular news, as we also have a new FBI director nominee that the establishment is trying to Matt Gaetz right now, as there's some other Trump appointments that are really questionable, to say the least, as the United States is also going to be sending $725 million in new weapons to Ukraine, as there's also a big bombshell report from the Senate that we cannot talk about on this particular platform, but we'll be talking about in an hour from now, all on this independent media broadcast. We can't thank you guys enough for sharing this broadcast, and because you do, we have really awesome, incredible guests in studio here because of you guys getting the show out there to the general public. It really means a lot to us to thank you guys for doing that. We have LukeUnfiltered.com, where we do in real life meetups. We do 6 members videos. We have started to do videos now with all of our guests at the end of the broadcast where we ask them their most controversial opinion. That segment is definitely a must watch on LukeUnfiltered.com. But more importantly, you guys get the ability to call into the show and actually be a part of it just by simply signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. First-time callers also get a free supplement from wearechange.shop. And, of course, we are staying very busy during the holiday season, getting out a lot of very important shirts. And we're also raising funds for our legal defense fund on SaveLukeNow.com. As, of course, that's not really a pleasant situation that we're dealing with, but there's so much to get into. Let's just get into it. As, of course, our guest today is the one and only Viva Frey. Viva, always a pleasure to have you. Always great to see another fellow proud Florida man down here in the belly of the beast, the new White House that is called Mar-a-Lago right now, in the midst of the political storm. Viva. For the people who don't know you, who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
Former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. But Luke, I have to say, when I was given the option as to which icon I wanted on the mic, a dog, the We Are Change, the radio show, or the Golden Balls, I went with the Golden Balls.
Good choice, young man.
Beautiful.
Good choice. Very, very, very. It's a perfect choice, as we here promote positive male masculinity, which I don't think enough people do. But great choice. What other choices are you making on your social media platforms where people could follow you?
Oh, you can go to Viva Fry. If you put in Viva Fry in the Google search engine or Brave, you'll get something everywhere. But I'm rocking the new shirt that I just got in the mail today.
I like it.
Merch will be wild. Anyone know what this is a reference to?
No idea.
No.
It's what Trump said about the January 6th protest. That was the source of his impeachment.
Oh,
they said
wow.
"will be wild" was inciting an insurrection at the Capitol.
Wow.
Are you inciting an insurrection right now as we speak on this show?
Well,
oh
with
my
golden
God.
balls, I might be inciting the erection of the proverbial Chuck Schumer. Who was it that said it? I think it was Chuck Schumer, right? Inciting the erection.
There's going to be some erections. And how do I transition this now to Martha? Like, this is in such an inappropriate way to talk about erections and then Martha.
And then, the
There's
little
Martha.
one here. Yeah. Hi, everyone. You can all follow me on X and IG at Bueno for Miami. And we have the one and only Miss Tatiana Moroz.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be back here in Florida. I've been gone for like 5 weeks now. Tatiana Moroz, singer-songwriter and Bitcoiner Also hosting thecounterparty.com in January here in Miami. So come and hang out with this beautiful group of people. We'll see you then.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's going to be happening soon. That's going to be happening in a few days from now.
No, in like
Yeah,
a
it's
couple
like,
months.
With the way
you know.
things are going, it's just going to be like a snap of a finger. We're going to be there already. So lots of great speakers there, myself included. Who else is going to be there? Mike Benz, right?
Yep.
Bunch of other cool people.
Andrew, who's been on the show a bunch of times. We just added Paul Pue, who's from Edge Wallet, who I saw at Monerotopia. I'm trying to get the Monero guys to come, so we'll see what happens with that. I really liked that conference. That was really good.
All right.
In Mexico
I
City.
like the Monero guys. They're good people.
Yep. Steph Murray in the house as well. Who are you?
Hey everyone, this is Steph We Are Change. You can find me on X at StephWRC. Let me fix this. Oh, it looks nice.
That's fine. Yep.
And you're pushing the buttons here on the show. And
Oh yeah, I'm the professional button pusher and I don't speak very much.
She speaks way too much. So, of course, let's just get into it. As I think the biggest story today is something that didn't really shock a lot of people. A lot of people saw it coming, just how corrupt the Biden administration has been. And that, of course, is something that Karine Jean-Pierre was telling us wasn't going to be happening, but is. Here's the clip of her just even a few weeks ago.
Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear and I said no.
Hey, let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Yep. He just pardoned his son.
Whoa. He pardoned his son?
Oh yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they said they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Do you notice the Darvo technique of shaming the person for asking the question? She's like, I've already addressed this a couple of weeks ago, so don't ask me again. And they're lying to you, and they're shaming you for bringing to their attention the fact that they're lying to you before they even actually complete the lie.
The hubris of these people that believe you're stupid, that think you don't have the receipts, that think you're not paying attention. Well, we are. And I see a lot of Democrats even kind of shocked and kind of a little bit angry about this. But are we really surprised here? Because I kind of saw this coming a long time ago. I even said, hey, as soon as Biden's going to get out there, he's definitely going to be probably pardoning his son, who loves ladies of the night, who loves his paraphernalia, who loves
niece.
Yeah, there's also those allegations that are pretty serious as well.
Tatiana, that one was.
As the cycle of abuse usually runs in families, and if the Ashley Biden diary story is true, it doesn't really portray a really nice picture of the Bidens that now have legal immunity under Hunter Biden. They're kind of person that was doing a lot of international business dealings, especially with China, especially with Russia, especially with Ukraine, that now is going to have a clean slate and won't be prosecuted and can't be prosecuted for, what is this, 10 years, I think was the term that
can't
they
be prosecuted at the federal level. 10 years, I'm sure they're going to argue is, to be sure about statute of limitations and nothing to do with the decade from which he started working with Burisma.
Oh yeah, perfect timing. It's like almost if it's like done specifically to obfuscate all the horrible stuff that is surrounding Ukraine. It's almost as if there's going to be maybe potential investigations. Or
So were there
looking
no
into this
other
stuff.
crimes that he committed before 2014, though? I mean, I feel like if you go back,
Statute of limitations, though.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up you'd have to look for crimes for which there's no statute of limitations.
Right.
And I would imagine things like rape and murder.
I'm pretty sure rape also has a statute of limitation.
Well, not with that lady who accused Trumpy.
Well, that's because
that was
New
civil.
York
That was
specifically changed their law in a way to expand the statute of limitations with that particular case that YouTube doesn't really like us talking about.
It was,
Okay.
and I should have said what they said. Grape is the word, or
Yes,
sexual.
that's what a lot of people. Yeah.
But the statute of limitations was for civil claims, not criminal ones. But I do wonder what the statute of limitations is for that particular crime. If we, I'll Google that in a second. It's in your face. Like Democrats getting angry about it. They're only getting angry that they've been made fools of because the lie was so freaking egregious. I had put out a tweet a while back. He's obviously going to pardon him. I just said, he's going
Obviously.
to pardon him, pardon himself, which he is. But I'm still sticking to that prediction. People were hypothesizing that this, somehow shields Joe from investigation. They can still investigate Hunter. They just can't charge him. He can't plead the fifth now, but it doesn't really protect Joe himself unless Joe pardons himself preemptively along with Trump to show a little good grace, which I'm sure he's going to do.
Yeah. A lot of people were saying that Trump should have done it before he left office after the J6 event. He didn't, but in kind of hindsight, looking at how weaponized our political system is and how overwhelmingly the Democratic kind of led DOJ has been going after political opponents, it definitely does seem like that this is the kind of new norm that we're kind of living in. And I don't even think it's Joe Biden calling the shots here, as of course, this is the guy. This is the man that allegedly is making all of these kind of moves here, the man who could barely speak, who could barely pronounce words, the guy who could barely even hold a coherent sentence together. Here's a clip of him recently.
I've just been told I've been fired. What they do when they tell us, they set a time, how long we're going to be somewhere, and then what they do is they close all the roads. The Secret Service does. And if you want to lose all support for the Coast Guard, and no one will ever vote for me again, I better get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you're telling me that guy is calling the shots here, as CNN, very interestingly, is also reporting that it's not him calling the shots, it's Joe Biden, as we have this from Jeff Zellini.
Well, she's a doctor, so she's qualified.
Yes, you got to trust your doctors. Here's the clip from CNN that brings up some very interesting questions about what just happened.
Clearly, there was pressure inside the family. We were told really in recent weeks that Dr. Jill Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, was very supportive of the president doing something like this. The president was not sure, but we clearly have seen now he has come to this decision to pardon his son Hunter.
Yeah, the timing is interesting because usually presidents wait until the end of their presidency. They wait until kind of January to make a lot of these kind of decisions and moves here. So why do you guys think he's doing this now? Could his health be in such significant decline that they're like, we just got to get this out there as soon as possible?
I didn't want to make the cynical joke. Dude's 81 years old.
Yeah.
He's past his shelf life. Every Matlock could be his last, to quote The Simpsons. So better do it now. God forbid something happens. Kamala Harris becomes president, and she might not pardon Hunter because,
there's a lot of bad blood.
There's a lot of bad
between
blood.
Jill and Kamala. We could see the body language.
Oh, yeah.
We could see them and the kind of scuttlebutt and the kind of rumors of what's happening behind the scenes of them fighting and arguing with each other. So it does make sense that they're like, oh crap, he's going to stroke out any moment now. We better make sure that he just gets this through before the worst kind of comes to him.
Of course, beyond the bird in hand, is worth more than whatever. There's also the point where I think he just doesn't have any more F's to give. I think Joe Biden's like, listen, the Democrats don't like him anymore, and he's done with politics. He's almost done with life. So, I mean, I think this is more of a, why not? And honestly, I have been enjoying this day quite a bit. As just because Democrats were like, I can't believe you're voting for that convicted felon. Oh, but you're voting for the guy who pardoned his convicted felon son. So,
and this is a Democratic Party that was screaming, no one is above the law. No one is above the law.
Not just that. The party that wants law reform to make it harder to procure a firearm is describing this. Felony lied on an application. Felony disposed of the firearm by having his who was it that his wife threw it in a dumpster by a school?
Yeah.
They don't care about gun laws anymore, and they call that a BS gun charge. Set aside whether or not you believe that you should ever have to divulge whether or not you're a drug addict when you apply for a gun. Some might say that's a Second Amendment violation. These are the people that want tougher gun laws and now want to write this off as nothing. And by the way, I just looked it up. There are some states in which it's not, there's no statute of limitations. Others where it's 10 years. In fact, the majority seem to be
10 years.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I mean, it's almost like they're corrupt. It's almost like it. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that, hey, maybe they're corrupt. What do you think?
Corrupt, and they know that their base is either too stupid to care or does not mind being lied to. Like everybody knew who was paying attention, he's going to pardon his kid. But you can't say that you're going to pardon your kid during the election cycle.
But it's worse than that because they pardoned him. Okay, the BS gun charge, fine, whatever. But he pardoned him for stuff that he hasn't been charged and investigated with yet. And oh my God, the juicy stuff on that. Like, that rabbit hole is
They're just going to blame everything on him, right? Everything that the Biden family has done, they're going to say, it was Hunter. Oh, you can't do anything about it. It was, the China dealings. Oh, Hunter. Oh, the potential, labs in Ukraine. Oh, all Hunter. Nothing to do with the big guy, as of course they call him.
10% for the big guy. Yeah. But I mean, come on, Luke. Everybody could see this if you were just paying an iota of attention. When the crackhead son was selling paintings for $500,000 and up, I mean, you can buy a Picasso for less. Clearly, it was
money laundering and influence laundering. But the amazing thing,
peddling and all the other good stuff.
When they said, Joe Biden lies and says he's not going to pardon his son. Hunter says, I'm not pleading because I'm taking this to trial, yada, yada, yada. So they drag that out. Hunter pleads on the eve of the trial, which was during something of an election cycle where a trial might have exposed some things that they might not want to have been exposed during an election cycle. Pleads, knowing that his dad's going to pardon him regardless, while his dad is saying he's not going to pardon him, so that the general public doesn't get to look down under the hood of that corrupt vehicle. And now a blanket pardon for the decade in which he was involved in Burisma, all sorts of other arguable money laundering, but not so arguable money laundering. Set aside the illegal underage trafficking that he's been accused of. If anybody hasn't seen the Marco Polo book, the Hunter Biden laptop, it's a must order. But
it's on X. You can actually see it and scroll through it. You don't even have to order it. They're so wonderful. That's like Marco Polo 501c3.
I've got 10 extra books that I'm supposed to give away, and I keep forgetting to bring them. I'll bring one next time.
Yes, I would take one. Thank you.
You feel dirty holding it. You feel like you're looking at a porno magazine, but
I've read it online, so having it in my hands would be fantastic. Next time you're down here, please do bring one. We'll take one off your hands.
But it's corruption.
It would also look great on those shelves back there.
You know what, Luke? I'll bring one next time.
Yes,
but
please.
it is everything about it has been corruption to conceal what the Biden crime syndicate has been doing for the better part of a decade. And it was corrupt the way they went to trial. They say like, oh yeah, they finally went after the kid for both gun and tax charges. Then he's going to go to trial. They plead, no trial, no exposure. Now they give him a pardon when they said they wouldn't. But I'm telling you, this will be culminated when Biden pardons himself. He can wait a little bit on the self-pardon because if he dies, he doesn't need to be pardoned anymore. Yeah. And if he's going to be alive on the eve of the transition of power, he's going to pardon himself. He's going to pardon Trump.
Are you allowed to pardon yourself?
Oh yeah, you could self-pardon.
So wait, does that mean if you get a pardon, are you just like all bets are off? Like you could have killed somebody 2 years ago, but any crime that you've ever committed is just all good from that point on?
At the federal
level.
In theory, the states can still go after them like they're doing to Steve Bannon and Brian Colfage in New York State, going after the state level alleged We Build the Wall fraud where the feds, where he got a pardon from Trump. But he'll do it, and it'll.
So basically, it's like, okay, if you did something bad, but it wasn't that bad, you can just brush it away.
Oh, no, it could be that bad.
It could be that bad.
It could be anything.
You could literally have murdered somebody, but if you get a pardon, then they can't charge you with it federally.
I mean, the people who have received pardons have been known confirmed terrorists. It's a question typically of giving a pardon because the trial or the process was so politicized that nobody received a fair trial, even if guilty. And now that we've lived through the January 6th, we can really easily understand how that happens. Even if some of the Jan 6ers were guilty of assaulting police officers, they didn't get a fair trial. They didn't get fair disclosures. They didn't get anything that respected constitutional rights. So I can see, and now the door's been opened, how they should all be pardoned, full stop. Even the violent ones, full stop, pardon all of them. And they've opened the door by pardoning the crack-addicted, felonious gun-acquiring son of the president.
Yeah. Previously, beforehand, Trump kind of announced just a few days ago that he's going to be looking at every single case of J6ers who are currently in jail. And a lot of people are like, wait, hold on. Why are you doing that? It should be a lot of people are arguing a blanket kind of pardon to a lot of the individuals who a lot of people make the argument have already paid the price for their crimes. As it's fair to say that they were absolutely politically prosecuted because of their belief systems, because of how political this event was made, and just how much of a witch hunt the Democrats made it out to be, as a lot of people now are expecting an investigation into the J6 investigation commission hearings, and this is the kind of legal lawfare that we are all kind of living in now.
If anybody's promoting the do it on a case-by-case basis, horse crap. What are you going to do? You're going to go look through Enrique Tarrio's trial and see if his 20-whatever years is a fair punishment? None of them received a fair trial. He wasn't there. Seditious conspiracy. What did he get? 18
28 years, I believe.
None of them. full stop, received a fair trial. Whether you think they're guilty, whether or not they actually did commit acts of violence, none of them got a fair trial. None of them got clean disclosure. Even Jake Lang, and I'm in touch with the guy Jake Lang who's in jail. You know, he performed, I guess, violence, whether it's self-defense, depends on your perspective. You know, they withheld exculpatory video evidence, and you know, this guy hasn't even stood trial yet, by the way. I think he's going to trial now. 4 years in pretrial detention. Wow. Nobody got treated fairly. Blanket pardons across the board. Save some time.
Yeah, people being thrown in solitary confinement.
For COVID.
And for health. And well, again, the stories from some of these individuals that I know are absolutely horrid, especially what they had to go through. We had some of these people on our show. We had Congressman Steve Stockman on the show last week, who was literally had a sentence commuted by Donald Trump. So this kind of larger pardoning, I think a lot of people, even on the left, are saying this is a little bit too much here, as the level of lawlessness that we have seen broadcast to us, specifically on Twitter, a little bit too much. I think we saw too much images of Hunter Biden. I think we saw a lot of him that we didn't really want to see. But these were kind of egregious crimes that they were kind of rubbing in our face, especially with this latest act of a pardon that essentially shows them that we could do whatever we want. Yeah, we could take drugs. Yeah, we could, have firearms. Yeah, we could, make business deals with Ukraine. We could do a bunch of other weird stuff, and you can't even question it. As of course, that's what a CNN guest, a former disgraced director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, has been arguing, as he is now saying there's going to be conspiracy theories that are going to be arising here. And yeah, absolutely, as that's all we're left with. We're left with conspiracy theories because the government keeps lying about almost everything that they do. Here's this very interesting CNN clip.
Republicans are really seizing on the time frame here, right? Including the senator-elect from Indiana, Jim Banks, who said Joe Biden issued a pardon to Hunter Biden for any crimes that he might have committed since 2014. Why such a specific year? Well, Hunter Biden just so happened to join the board of Burisma, a Ukrainian energy firm, in that same year, 2014. So corrupt. What do you make of the time frame here?
Well, I mean, my initial impression was this is the president's desire to protect him for the longest period that reflects the president's time of service in the White House. But nevertheless, the effect of that very broad 10-year time frame is, ironically, it will perpetuate the conspiracy theories and the accusations around Hunter Biden. They'll never be resolved criminally, but it gives his detractors the opportunity to say, oh, well, he must have done something in 2014.
Detractors, because he did.
No, but it's more Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. It's a classic narcissist technique to blame the victims. And what they're doing right now is saying, it's going to give you guys these crazy ideas of conspiracy. First of all, his rationale made no sense. If he wanted to cover Joe Biden's time in office, unless I remember wrongly, that starts in 2008 when he's VP. So the explanation makes no sense. Yep. It would at least cover 2012 to 2016. So that explanation makes no sense. It's patently corrupt on its face. And yet they try to blame the people who call out the corruption by taking advantage of the corruption to complain about the corruption, and they don't complain about the corruption. They don't complain about the corruption itself. That guy should belong in jail. And with Kash Patel,
he just might, which is what he kind of deserves, in my opinion. Legally, he should be held accountable.
A fair trial.
Exactly. Legally, he should be held accountable for all of the kind of miscretions that he committed against the American people, all the lies that he has spread, and all the kind of larger conspiracies that are at play here. Because we shouldn't be fooling ourselves. What we know is still, I think, just the tip of the iceberg. I think later on, we're going to be finding out how there's a lot more to this, as we just have speculation here. But hopefully, when Kash Patel, when the new Trump administration gets in there, we have proper investigations, we have proper disclosures, we release a lot of the documents, we're able to actually see what was happening behind the scenes here, because there are a lot of really weird things, specifically when it comes to Ukraine, when it comes to biolab networks, right after 2014, right after the Maidan Revolution, right after the government of Ukraine was overthrown, and then a lot of Democrats and a lot of their children got a lot of really good contracts from the government of Ukraine and for a lot of private enterprises inside of Ukraine as well. And I think, the disclosures here are going to be very vast. I think they're going to be big. I think they're going to be huge. And I think they're going to be revolutionary. And I think this is why Joe Biden's like, I don't even care about what people think about me. Usually presidents care about their legacies. They're very careful with who they pardon, how they look. He doesn't give a damn because I don't think he's even there now. And I don't think he cares about his legacy because the Democratic family, the Biden family, I think they're done after this. I don't think they're going to have any kind of revival. I don't think Hunter Biden, unless there's going to be a crazy redemption story, is ever going to be in our kind of political discourse ever again.
It's a fair point. There is no legacy in that family of the next generation of legacy. In Trump's family, you can almost see it in Barron already. Certainly, I've already seen it in Donald
Trump Jr. Yep.
What's amazing here is, they try to analogize this and they say, oh, Hunter Biden, that wasn't corrupt. Trump's son takes billions from Saudi governments and whatever for their businesses. And they try to correlate or equate Hunter Biden getting involved in Burisma as I don't even know, he has no training, drug addict, getting involved in Burisma.
That's my favorite part is he's a drug addict. Have you ever been around drug addicts?
I say, I not that type, but they try to compare Hunter's involvement in Burisma to the business enterprise that is Trump enterprise, and Jared Kushner's involvement in that, and as if they're analogous. They try to equate this pardon to Trump's pardon of not Kash Patel, Dinesh D'Souza. They try to equate this pardon to the.
Damn, that was a little racist.
No, because Kash Patel has also his problems with the FBI as well.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I made the mistake earlier today on my own show. I was like, I know people are going to say it. The other one there, Kushner's dad, Charles Kushner.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. I mean, why did that guy get out?
Well, but first of all, he got convicted. He served his time, and he was convicted for a specific crime and pardoned for that specific crime. So the ways in which it's not analogous. Kushner was charged, convicted, and served his time for a specific crime. And then you want to pardon, and he had rights taken away as a result of being a convicted felon. It's not analogous to a blanket pardon for everything and anything for the last decade in the absence of a conviction and actually assuming some responsibility for the wrong that you've done. When it comes to Dinesh D'Souza, that prosecution was lawfare in and of itself on its face. So they come up with these stupid analogies or comparisons that are totally not analogous because they are either dumb, liars, or a little from column A and a little from column B.
It's worse. I think they're just corrupt. And I mean, this is the grift, right? Who's going to come out and be like, no, totally. We are these grifters, liars, cheaters, and then still have a brand. They have to protect it. This is clear protecting their, whatever grift they have going on. What's the alternative? Sincerely. Like, what are Democrats supposed to do today? Like, no, we know that guy that we told all of you, please vote for him, he's a solid dude, was corrupt. Of course they have to,
they might as well put on a criminal uniform instead of a suit at this point, with how brazen they are.
When you say it like that, it does open the window for the opportunity for an honest Democrat, should one exist, to come out and say, this is enough.
They had to leave the party and join the Trump team. This is what's happening in America. And it's like, it's blatant. It's blatant.
I had on Jason Palmer. He was the other Democrat running for president, and he got the 4 electoral votes from, I was going to say Papua New Guinea, but that's definitely not right. American Samoa, where I don't think they actually vote. But he seemed honest, but just ill-informed. Even if it's an ill-informed, honest Democrat coming out and saying, this is why we're imploding and enough is enough. But like what? They got Gavin Newsom.
Have you seen them complaining about the election? And it's like, oh, it's misogyny and racism and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all righty. Like, I'm sorry that you guys got your behinds handed to you, but you kind of deserved it. And this is clear reason why. Nobody to blame but yourselves. Look at the incompetence of somebody like Kamala, who is in debt after 3 months spending
$1.4 billion.
Imagine that.
It's unbelievable. I made a similar joke, and I didn't realize that Michael Malice had made it first. You're not just racist, a misogynist. You're an ableist. And he was on road. Because Kamala's clearly mentally deficient. I had an iteration of that joke, and everyone thought I stole it from Malice, which I didn't. Malice, I didn't steal it from you. But everyone had the same thought.
Fetal alcohol syndrome is real. So.
No, it's adult alcohol syndrome, and she's on something.
Yeah,
you all saw
absolutely,
her
100%.
And I don't mean to make fun of her.
Her dress during Thanksgiving, goodness
Oh my
gracious.
gosh, how's the shirt doing, Luke? Because that is my favorite Luke
Oh yeah,
merch
we
so
released
far.
a special because she's talking about potentially running for the presidency or potentially being a governor. So we released this very nice shirt of hers that says Kamala Harris 2028, only available on thebestpoliticalshirts.com.
Is that not the greatest shirt?
But zoom in again, because the problem is here. People are gonna. That picture is real. That's an actual screen grab, not the bottle of alcohol.
It's not fake.
No, because people are gonna think like, oh, the bottle of alcohol. They're gonna think her face was enhanced. I snapshotted. What's it called? Screen grab.
Screenshotted.
I was like, that's the moment. Like I made a joke. Like that's when you've had one drink too many and it finally hits you.
Absolutely.
That picture was not at Photoshop. Just the bottle of alcohol.
We just revised our old shirt. We have two shirts. One that says the IRS is gay, and we have another one that says the FBI is gay. But we just changed it because of Kash Patel's nomination, and now we have the FBI is straight, also available on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. That was just released, as well as Kash Patel is promising some very interesting disclosures, as it's fair to say. I think this man, more than anyone else, knows where the skeletons are buried. He's the guy that broke the Russian collusion story. He's the man that has been talking about Epstein, talking about Diddy, talking about all the deep state corruption. And ladies and gentlemen, if he gets confirmed by the Senate, this is going to be your new FBI director. And I know I'm going to be calling him right away, be like, what do they have on me? What's the documents? Let's release them. Let's get it out. As this is what he had to say a couple weeks. Yeah, I don't know about you, but that's some criminal activity by criminals. And the Biden family, criminal family. That's why they needed a blanket pardon for 10 or 11 plus years now. And I don't know about you, but Kash speaks a good game. I think he's going to deliver personally.
He is a great appointment. There have been a couple that are not so great, which we can focus
yeah, we'll talk
on
about
less
that
and more.
in a little bit. Yeah,
he's amazing, and also I don't think he should have many problems getting confirmed. RFK, you can sort of understand how they might. RFK's got more skeletons in his closet than Kash.
Yeah, RFK has a couple of them, self-admitted, and Matt Gaetz also is another one.
Matt Gaetz, unfortunately, I think he made the wrong decision by pulling out, but I presume that they. No pun in there, but I presume they had good reason for that. No, but also Hegseth, might have some. They might have a stronger ammunition to try to deny Hegseth or RFK Jr. Kash, anybody who says he's unqualified can go listen to the intro. That was from the Sean Ryan show, right?
Yep.
So you can go listen to the Sean Ryan show where they spend 2.5 minutes, Sean does, going over his credentials. They're undisputable. He's a smart guy, he's a badass, and he's got good ideas. Classification, everybody knows that's what they do to conceal their own criminality. When my brother got involved in Canada and trying to find the supply agreements with Pfizer, and the ones that you get, they're redacted. They're so redacted you don't even know what's in them, and then you can compare them to other countries where they're not redacted. But they do that, and they conceal it for a certain period of time, and then they unredact it later on when nobody cares about the story anymore. But that Peter Strzok business was the most insane stuff ever, if people still remember it, given the rapidity of the news cycle.
Yeah, I was just happy Trump had someone around like Kash that could actually expose a lot of this, because we wouldn't know any of this if it wasn't for Kash actually looking at the details, looking at the documents, and releasing it to the general public. So I think he's going to be one of the most important figures. I think he's one of the most important kind of appointees next to the Attorney General. I'm not too happy about the Attorney General, that Pam Bondi. She doesn't have the best track record when it comes to the First Amendment or the Second Amendment. And there's another person with the DEA pick that also really isn't a good person. We'll get into that in a little bit, but we'll finish off the conversation about Kash and then go to Super Chats really quick. I think we have some. Steph, just be prepared to read them. But what do you ladies think about Kash Patel as the new director of the FBI?
I mean, I think we've discussed it here before. I think that was our choice. We definitely wanted Kash Patel, so I'm thrilled. I hope he can get confirmed, and I'm ready to go. I mean, I agree with you. There's some picks that were just, I don't know what Trump's thinking, but this is the first time in my life, and I've been a voter now for 25 years. It's the first time in my life that the president has picked a whole bunch of non-war hawks, and so it could be worse. I'm actually quite pleased. It could be better, sure. I mean, we could have like Ron Paul officially dismantling the whole, government institution or whatever. But I'm pretty thrilled.
But he's consulting. He's consulting with Vivek and Elon. We're going to have Ron Paul on this Wednesday, 1 p.m. So we'll ask him about the consulting, what's happening behind the scenes, his legacy, and a lot of other important stuff regarding Ron Paul. 1 p.m. here on this show particularly. I kind of really like Cash, not just because I kind of I know him a little bit, but the response.
Fangirling. You are fangirling, Cash.
It was up in the air whether he would be appointed or not. And I'm happy he did, because the other person that they were talking about was just absolutely egregious and horrible for this country. But also, particularly, if you look at how the FBI has been acting, going after James O'Keefe for the Ashley Biden story, you look at how they went after Roger Stone, you look at how they went after Bannon, you look at how they go after lawyers that represented Donald Trump. I know a lot of these people that were, raided and had their lives turned upside down by the FBI, knowing that hey, Cash is in there. It's a sigh of relief. It's like, okay, my door won't be busted down right now. I won't be, I won't be set up. I won't be, investigated. I won't have, the government looking at me because I'm a political voice in this country. And that right there is not just fangirling. It's literally just like, I could breathe a sigh of relief. I don't know about you, Viva, but this is extreme circumstances with just how dangerous our political field is. I mean, it's not just swatting that we have to deal with, but federal authorities that are absolutely egregious, that have set people up. Look what happened with Cheryl Atkinson and her husband, and this horrible story that she came forward with how federal agents were trying to entrap her husband with some illegal activities on their computer that they weren't even doing themselves, only to, of course, put her in check as a political voice in this country, to silence her. So that right there, having this recall, having an investigation, having the ability to finally be like, yo, we could finally not have to worry about this, is a big burden off of my shoulders.
The people don't really appreciate that Russiagate wasn't just a hoax. It was a
psyop.
Beyond a psyop. It was a method of overturning legitimate elections. It was an actual manufactured attempt to overturn a democratically elected president because they didn't like the fact that Trump got elected. They manufactured the crisis. They manufactured the hoax with, not to go back into it, but with the Steele dossier that was funded by Hillary Clinton, that was leaked to the FBI, that was leaked to the media, that was used as the basis to obtain illegal FISA spy warrants. Everything about it was manufactured to subvert democracy in the way that, had it been done in any other country, you would never travel to that country ever again. Kash Patel exposes that and now has a chance to not get to the skeletons of the closet, but make sure the FBI is doing what it's supposed to be doing. If it's not utterly dismantled, at the very least, it's going to be physically remanned and rewomaned to do what it's supposed to do, which is pursue actual crimes and not pursue political agendas and act as the Gestapo for the Democrat Party.
There's criminal gangs and cartels that are running around loose all over major Democratic cities, and the FBI is focusing on pro-lifers. The FBI is sending agents into parent-teacher school conferences, okay? I think we're definitely going to have to change our priorities here and seeing a larger kind of perspective of, hey, there's actual, real, legitimate criminals out there that we're going to use our resources to go after rather than, hurting people because of their political ideas. That right there, I think, is the biggest change that we could have.
I'll make one prediction before I hog the mic too much.
No. Go ahead. That's why we have you here. We like having you on.
Mark it. I said it on my channel. I said it on Twitter. But you're going to see, I believe, a slew of preemptive pardons or blanket pardons for all federal agents. Because when they say that they're crying and they're worried about going to jail and they're thinking about leaving the country, I believe that they are. And I also believe that's sort of why they allowed the assassination attempt to happen on Trump, because I believe that is a they.
Yep.
I think you're going to see Biden issue some blanket pardons for federal agents, and you're going to see resignations en masse, because if they don't resign before Trump comes in and Cash comes in and after he gets nominated, and he can also be recessed in if they don't, if there's going to be some issues in terms of confirming his appointment, people will be going to jail because they actually broke real crimes in real RICO attempts to violate constitutional rights. And they deserve to go to jail. But there's going to be blanket pardons and there's going to be mass resignations before Trump comes in. That's my prediction.
Absolutely. Just the way that the corporate media is responding to all of this is also pretty amazing to see. It's pretty glorious to see, as, of course, Morning Joe had this to say about the Kash Patel nomination.
This is not only bad for the men and women who run the FBI. This is not only bad for the rule of law. This is not only bad for the First Amendment. This is not only bad for the United States of America. This is bad for Donald Trump. Oh. This is bad for the Trump administration.
The only guy who really stood behind him, the only guy who stood behind him in the intelligence community, while the whole intelligence community ran with this psyop lie about Russian collusion, is bad for Donald Trump. Are you kidding me? This guy's an idiot.
Am I allowed using the F word?
No.
Not
Okay,
yet.
well,
Not yet.
I was going to say F this effing effort. Because this is the same guy who got on. He's cogent. I've never known. I will tell you this, and if it weren't true, I wouldn't say it. Biden is the best version I've ever. This guy is a pathological liar. Set aside the whole whether or not he had anything to do with the death of his intern, which is a very suspicious
I was
circumstance.
just thinking that
Set
as you were
aside all
bringing
of that.
it up, yeah.
He is an absolute POS that lied to the American people. And when you're playing chess with someone and they say like, "Oh, do you really want to do that?" If you're playing to win the game, you don't take advice from your adversary. And this guy pretending to say what's good and bad for Trump, the current Secret Service and intelligence allowed Trump to nearly have his head blown off on live internet. I don't need this guy giving me advice as to what's good for me or Trump.
However, don't forget that he went to Mar-a-Lago with his tail between his legs. So, I mean, honestly, does anyone care what he has to say? He like it's a joke at this point.
Yep. Well, the clip continues. Here's the rest of it.
This is not going to end well. Oh. So I think the best case scenario for everybody is that Kash Patel and this talk of Kash Patel ends like the Matt Gaetz nomination ended.
What a scumbag.
Because this will not go well for anybody.
Oh, what is
and
that
I
supposed to mean?
believe
It's not going to go well for him. I think that, like he's probably going to be investigated. Some of his friends might be investigated. He's not talking about Trump. He doesn't care about the American people.
No, this actually kind of sounds to me like one of the more like a Chuck Schumer threat, like the FBI has 6 ways. This is not going to go well. Oh, you mean it's going to go worse than you letting someone get on a building and shoot at my head on live internet? What does that mean exactly? It sounds like a threat, but admittedly, I might be looking into it to read it that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the kind of media does. They send out threats. They try to intimidate people. They try to make them live in fear. And we have to understand a lot of these corporate heads, they're not just puppets. They are individuals tied to intelligence agencies. The intelligence agencies have a very long history of puppeteering a lot of these journalists that openly work for them and push out their propaganda, push out their lies. This is why we had weapons of mass destruction. This is why we had democracy that we had to save in Libya. This is why we had to invade Afghanistan. Again, they went along with the lies for the benefit of the intelligentsia, and that's why I think Joe Scarborough is saying what he is. Here's the last few comments that
You're
he
torturing
mentioned
us,
here.
Luke.
I still believe there will be 4 Republican senators who will not vote to confirm somebody who says he's going to throw judges in jail, he's going to throw bureaucrats in jail, he's going to throw reporters in jail who did not go along with the 2020 Stop the Steal conspiracy.
What's he suggesting, that judges don't break the law? Does he not know the story of the judge who was taking bribes to lock up children because he was getting kickbacks? Yeah. Does he not think that judges will break the law? Judge Kaplan in the New York, E. Jean Carroll case, who after the jury says we don't find that Trump arred her, he then adjudicates judiciously so that now people can say that that he sexually assaulted her. These judges are in fact criminal participants in all this. Some of them.
Absolutely, 100%. And Joe being scared, it could be potentially because there could be receipts from the FBI giving him his script or his talking points, hypothetically speaking, as he's probably worried about the larger disclosures, because we know the FBI, through the Twitter files, was essentially narrating a lot of the content on there, moderating it, getting rid of stories like the Hunter Biden story that was kind of inconvenient for everyone. And it was the intelligence agencies of this country that went to social media. Mark Zuckerberg even admitted this specifically when it came to the larger health story that we were dealing with in 2021, and said, yeah, they kind of came in and pressured me to censor and delete specific stories. Now, it's not just the intelligence agencies censoring stories, it's also them elevating certain stories and narratives that fit towards their larger kind of goals that they're trying to achieve. So this is the kind of tangled web that is going to be untangled and threatened to be exposed by Kash Patel, which I think is absolutely awesome and incredible. So, Steph, let's read off some of the super chats really quick.
Wait, really quick. I just want to know, when are these confirmations happening?
They happen over the course of an extended period of time, so I don't think there's any specific time frame. It's sort of also Thun, I'm told it's how it's pronounced, has a large role in deciding, what reaches the agenda when. So it happens over a course of time. But the good thing is...
But it's after Trump is sworn
It's
in.
it's only after. It's not before. And I think I don't want to say it has to occur by 2026. I just know that on the Kalshi markets...
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, no,
It could take a while.
It could take a while. And they can
So
stall...
who's in charge of those positions until they do the confirmations? That's crazy.
The deep state.
I
The
think,
blob, as
but I
Mike
think
Pence likes to call it.
They're going to move quickly because by all accounts, Trump is going to have the first 2 years to really get everything done because some people predict that the markets might go south and things might turn for 2026. But he can also recess them in and bypass a vote if they're not going to, if it looks like what's her name, Markowski? Alaskan, there's a few names who are backstabbing traders. They call them rhinos, but I think they're just Democrats with a capital D. So he can recess them in. But it's going to start happening as of day one.
Steph, read the super chats really quick.
All right, we got one from Switzerland Play IT saying, "Where is my Sophia?"
Good luck finding her, bro. Keep going.
We got Andrew Lapensi saying, "Care to explain the 3 sets of 3 on the shelf?"
What?
The 3 sets of 3.
I'm thinking he's talking about the We Are Change.shop products above you, Luke.
Oh.
Which?
Oh, yeah.
The 3 sets
That's
of
the
3.
chill pill. That's the ashwagandha. That's the magnesium glycinate. Available on wearechange.shop. Thank you.
And that essential fatty.
Oh, yeah. Essential fatty, too.
We have one from...
And 3 is a great number.
Yeah,
saying.
so we got another one here from Ian saying, "Hey, Luke, since you have legal counsel, well, he'll have to run it by Robert, but since he has a blanket pardon, doesn't he lose all Fifth Amendment rights behind forcing testimony, asking for a friend?"
Yeah, that's I had to double check that, and he does. The issue becomes is they can't just investigate for the sake of investigating. So I don't think they can. If they can't charge him, they're not going to be able to say, "Well, we're going to investigate you for something we can't charge." They'd have to have like some legislative purpose, I think, to investigate him, which is not hard to imagine. What needs to be put in place so that family members can't profit from the influence being peddled by their president fathers or vice president fathers? That it was what I just said was so revolutionary. We got music that came with it. But yeah, so he can't plead the Fifth, which is why it's not a Biden protection until Biden pardons himself or passes on to the next universe.
Yep.
Okay, we have Just 'Cause I'm Free saying, "My 2 favorite Florida men on one podcast. Also, glad the ladies are here too. Since the pardon covered till a day or 2, then how many crimes will come to light that happened during Biden's presidency?"
What more can we need to know about what Hunter did than what's in the lab? I mean, if there's something that we don't know about yet, like he's got another laptop, it'd be great. But
I feel like there's probably worse things that he's done. That is what on the. Why can't I say this sentence? That's what on. I give up. You know
that
what
is
I'm
on the list.
That's on the laptop.
Well, he
then
might
what
have,
is on the laptop?
he might have had another laptop.
He probably didn't document all his crimes. I'm sure he did other things, but yeah, pretty much all of the genre of things that he liked to do was on that laptop. A little more, a little less.
I feel like there's
few
more
extra-
than what's on there for sure.
from-
I think he's done worse than what's on there.
Yeah,
Sure.
Given the
Look at
rumors
his
of what they
father.
were doing at the Epstein Island and the whole thing about adrenochrome, which I've only recently learned about and wish I hadn't, I would not be surprised. I mean,
Really?
the depravity doesn't just end at coke and crack and
I mean,
whatever.
they've been telling us these stories. You really just learned about adrenochrome? You didn't-
I say within a year or two, but I until I got into this world,
Monsters Inc. that we play for our kids, that wasn't like a
I have
moment
no
for
idea
you?
what reference you're talking about. of
Monsters Inc.
adrenochrome.
The movie
yeah.
for the kids where the kids are like scared and then they collect their screams. That's kind of
Okay,
like Hollywood telling us what they do. This is like
holy
right.
hell.
Like,
Well, there's a lot of that stuff.
right. But like we know that like Hollywood, for some weird reason, they love to tell us what they're up to. They just love to tell us in like these fantastical stories.
Yep. Steph, keep going.
Sorry about that.
Black Bill even worse.
We got a lot of stories to talk about. Let's go quick.
All right, we have another one from Barb Arian, $20 for having Viva on. Thanks, Luke.
I know her name from our community. Bob, nice to see you.
All right.
Thank you, Barb. Appreciate you. Keep going.
We got David Himes saying, "Do you think since you know Cash personally, he might give you an exclusive like Epstein's client list?"
I wouldn't expect that, but if there was a role that I could fulfill as a potential declassifier, I would take it. Absolutely. And then I would have to discuss with legal counsel if I could broadcast that to the general public, and then I would go from there. But who knows? Maybe.
Little Drinky Poo. Russia Gate were the seeds planted to ramp up hate towards Russia for the inevitable conflict with them, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Pretty much. It was a psychological buildup, predictive programming that has been happening in the United States kind of entertainment Hollywood world. Sort of what Martha was describing now, as a lot of the larger villains are kind of described years and years beforehand in order to put the idea in people's head that it's going to be okay to kind of attack them and go after them. Keep going.
James Mansfield. Cash may know where the bodies are buried, but does he know why they had to be buried?
Does it matter?
Yeah.
I mean, if you know that a crime was committed or that there's a body there, does it matter the why behind it? I don't know. It just seems kind of one of those.
We have Roy Quiggett saying, I tried to buy your signed hat. It won't let me.
Steph, are we selling signed hats on SaveLukeNow.com? Are they going through?
Yep.
So might be an issue on your hand.
It might be international. That's another thing.
Yeah, we don't do international sales because international sales are just an absolute pain. But thank you, FIFA. Appreciate that. We have only 100 of these hats. A lot of them have already sold, available on SaveLukeNow.com that are personally signed, limited edition items in order to help me get legal counsel and do that fun stuff. As of course, in related, not fun stuff, we have Trump's pick to head up the DEA. Chad Croninster, who is a woke, pro-BLM, pro-gay, Queen Barack Obama donor who previously arrested pastors during a national health emergency. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people are up in arms about this. I'm not happy about this. I mean, this guy's record speaks for itself. A lot of people were talking about a lot of his horrible policies that he openly bragged he supported, that he openly implemented, as of course there were so many double standards, especially when it came to BLM protests that were okay. People practicing their religion, not okay, which highlights the larger hypocrisy. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have faith in men like this who are going to be heading the future of the DEA, which in my opinion should be a government agency that should be absolutely shut down and not supported and emboldened by some of the worst actors during our national health scare in 2021.
Well, I'll tell you, at the risk of being controversial, I don't care about his position on homosexuality if he's for it. I have no problem with that. The trans stuff, I don't care about that either, unless he's pro for children or pro gender affirming care for children, which I'm not sure about. My disqualification for him came from a clip I sent it to you in DM if you can bring it up, but it's him talking about.
Put the mic up a little bit closer.
Oh, sorry. It's him now. Hold on 1 second. It was him talking about. Oh yeah, that's right. Not giving paid leave or employees who don't get vaccinated. And if they have to quarantine, which was already an unscientific abuse of human rights, then they would have to, pay for that themselves. If they got sick for whatever the reason, they'd have to pay for that themselves. But if they were vaccinated and got sick, well, then it would be comped by the department of whatever agency he worked for. He was a sheriff. So the idea of penalizing people for not having subjected themselves to an experimental medication at the time is disqualifying, and using the power of the dollar to coerce people into submission. That's the disqualification for me. The fact that he issued a warrant for a pastor who defied COVID lockdown stuff,
and then he bragged about it, and he held a press conference saying, "Look what I'm doing," which is absolutely disgusting. We have the clip pulled up here. I don't know if it has any of the naughty words that YouTube doesn't like.
In the Bay Area, we've lost law enforcement members because of COVID, something that Sheriff Cronister is very aware of.
Listen to this.
I put out a policy a few weeks ago that if you're unvaccinated and you have to quarantine or you get ill, you have to use your own accruals. If you're vaccinated and for some reason you fall ill, the sheriff's office is going to cover your time off.
Disqualified.
Yeah, that absolutely is someone that should not be holding any kind of larger political office. As I think the culture here does matter, especially when it comes to a lot of the woke policies that the corporations try to push on us, as he seems like a person who has been kind of ideologically hijacked by forces that are not aligned with Donald Trump, not aligned with making America first, but aligned with pushing the larger agenda that has ever so destroyed our kind of American way of life. And I don't know what Trump is thinking. I don't know what the deal was here, but I do not have any faith in this man being the future head of the DEA. And if there's going to be a controversial pick, I mean, the corporate media is saying he's controversial. We got to counsel him. We got to make sure there's pressure to put on him to make sure he doesn't get appointed. we should do the same. I think independent media has proven itself to be far more stronger, far better at reporting than the corporate media. And I think we should be kind of using this as a way to bring attention to a lot of these individuals who I believe do not deserve a seat at the table.
I think that we're seeing it happen live. I mean, look at Kash Patel now as somebody that is, been given that seat or potentially given that seat. I think that was done by independent media. But this appointment, it's actually completely in line with Trump. And the reason I say that is because Trump still is not going back on his own 2020 policies. I'm trying to avoid say the word. And so, yeah, this is completely aligned with him. He still thinks he did a great job. And overall, I'm okay with Trump and his, ideas thus far. But this is one where we're just never going to agree. And his pick is going to just agree with him in that terrible decision he made and the terrible appointments he did and the terrible rules he implemented. And I just think that Trump is completely wrong on this one. And, he's never going to win me over on it.
He also supported red flag laws, which are a big kind of no-no for me. I don't like any individual who supports that. It definitely violates the Fourth Amendment of the United States. He also supported BLM riots. And the stuff he's being accused of, some stuff we can't even mention here on this particular broadcast here, but there's stories of criminals being released with like 35 prior arrests that were released by him that went on and then, took someone else's life. Again, we're trying to be very careful here with what we say here, as there's a lot of very serious allegations. There's a lot of very serious receipts to this man, his record, that isn't good at all here. Mike Cernovich has been really on point here, really pissed off about this, as he says the next head of the DAA imposed a curfew on residents during our national health scare in 2021.
To steelman it just a little bit, some are hypothesizing that he's a bad sheriff and that to remove him from that position allows that position to get filled by someone better, and Trump can fire him if he doesn't, not toe the line, but adhere to Trump policy. The other steelman argument, this was what Robert Barnes, who's a bigger brain than me, said, the fact that he enforced curfew, he's a law and order type guy, so maybe that's what you want for a DEA, but not necessarily what you want for the FBI. This is only to steelman the bad pick, because we all agree it's an incomprehensible pick.
Yeah, I think it's wishful thinking, the first kind of thesis that you kind of put out there. And I don't know. A lot of people from the Florida government are being kind of picked for the federal government. And some of them aren't the best, let's just be honest. And I think we should be criticizing him. I think we should kind of bring up these larger points because they do matter to the American public. And there's another pick, Trump's new envoy for Ukraine and Russia, Keith Kellogg, also another individual who is kind of a neocon war hawk that has said that Biden hasn't gone far enough when it comes to the larger kind of conflict in Ukraine. Also someone that I'm kind of looking at being like, that's also not a good pick at all in my book, in my opinion. But Dr. Oz, he's another one. It's a mixed bag. Overall, I think Trump has saved face with Kash Patel. And overall, I'm still optimistic. But I think as independent media, a lot of people are kind of scared to criticize some of these choices. But I'm saying no. I think we have to be vocal more than ever in order to get these issues out there to the campaign that is paying attention to social media and is seeing what people are saying.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering how long everybody's going to be drinking the Trump Kool-Aid, because I stopped drinking it. I took like a couple sips. I was like, it's okay. But I just want to be able to participate in conversations where everybody isn't like, but maybe he'll do, and I like this one, and just making up excuses for this guy, because I think we've got about 3 months until maybe 25% of people stop believing in this nonsense. And I'm going to feel a lot less lonely. That's all I have to say.
I mean, it's hard, right? Because
we haven't had a win in so long, but everybody's so excited about government. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone where everybody's just become a statist and they just forget that government sucks. Hello?
Most people forget that. I think you might have had a little bit too many black pills, Tatiana. I think you might be.
I'm in the reality pill.
I think you might be on an island a little bit there.
Well, I'm waiting for you guys to come to the island, because everybody's eventually going to make their way over there. I'm sorry, I do not.
I'm not coming to any island anymore.
You had your island experience.
Yeah, you already had one.
I agree with Tatiana.
Yeah, so do I. And I've been saying this on the show consistently. It's like, I want to believe Trump. For my own good, that I was very much in favor of Trump for Ross Ulbricht, for the free Ross, clearly. So for my own, like mental state. I need Trump to like do a few good things. But let's be honest, it's government. There's a reason that he ran for this seat. There's a reason he made it there. And his first presidency wasn't exactly fire. You know, it was meh.
But if you look at his previous
thrown by
administration,
more people than Obama.
But we don't know that because that's not true. We don't know the exact numbers if he did or if he didn't because he classified them. So we don't know the exact kind of extent of that. So
Well, Derek Brose has an article on it. People can look into it and decide if they think that his article is well researched. But I just had a conversation with him about it.
If you look at his administration in 2016 to his administration now, I think it's completely different.
It's wildly better. But and I've gotten into a little bit of fights. Like I'm posting on Truth now, but only to post my critique of his choices. Who was the other one there? Surgeon General Jeanette?
Yes.
Nishiwat.
That one, also horrible.
Horrible. Now, some people say that these are sort of, they're lesser power positions than the good choices. The Jay Bhattacharya's, the RFK.
Excuses.
No, it's excuses. And I take a little flack. Everyone's like, Viva, trust the plan. First of all, people have to.
Oh God, I hate that.
They don't really use that expression, but they say
to listen about this damn plan.
That
Well,
is
they don't-
like
they
the
don't.
QAnon redo. Like I can't. Please.
No, but they
please.
say trust Trump. I trust his decision making.
Trust
But
Barron.
to-
He's a genius, and he's got the chip in the ball. I mean, come on.
It's easy to be a critic. Let's continue this conversation on the next platform because we have to move our way over. There's a lot of things, including we're going to get a look into Hunter's last few hours of immunity. That's going to be a very interesting perspective. There's also a lot of interesting things, specifically when it comes to the bombshell Senate report that talks about an issue that we've been kind of skirting around here for a little bit. And we'll get into a real bad Trump pick for health policy, and we'll get into a really good Trump pick for his health kind of administration. Before getting into that, let me tell you about Biltong, which is our amazing sponsor. They send us these awesome, incredible meat packets that is really convenient for me to use, especially after I go to the gym. After I go to the gym, I get me some Biltong. Landofbiltong.com is the website. Promo code WRC for free shipping. Promo code WRC10 for 10% off purchases over $56. Let me pull up the website so you guys could see.
The WRC is for We Are Change.
Yep. In a weird way, it actually is. As of course, saying whack all the time doesn't sound as phonetic and fun as WRC. But Biltong, family-friendly snack, low in carbs and packed with protein, making Biltong the ultimate health snack. Biltong is a great source of iron and also serves as a source of several other essential nutrients, including magnesium, potassium, and B vitamins, which translates into exceptional gains in all aspects of life. Steph? If you follow any high-protein, meat-based diet, Biltong should be an essential part of your diet. Code WRC. This is a family-owned business, and this is as local as it gets. We literally get a check from Anton. He does really great work. He's doing the Carnivore Challenge as well. Check him out. Support him. By supporting him, you support his company, but you support also a lot of independent media, and the product is great. A lot of meat in America is filled with a lot of bull crap, and this stuff is absolutely incredible, and it's definitely a hack. If you love the gym, right after I go to the gym, I usually take some Biltong, and it's a great product. So
Let me hijack your ad here for a bit because it's objectively delicious.
It is delicious.
Period. Full stop. I get it as well. It's an indirect sponsorship where Anton just buys Rumble Rants and I read the same thing every day. It's delicious, and the piri piri, if you like spicy, is the perfect spice. The Ghost Wagyu might be a little too much spice for some of the sensitive people out there, but it's objectively delicious.
Yeah, I don't like spicy, but this Wagyu is delish.
Delish.
I as we were starting this ad, I'm like, pass it over.
And the only reason I don't eat it on air is because I get nervous about having food in my teeth and and nobody telling me so.
That's what would happen with that particular product. It's damn good. Landofbiltong.com. We're going to move over now to a free speech platform where we're going to get a little bit more contentious. We're going to argue. We're going to fight. I know Tatiana is just waiting to get her nails out there and claws to start this larger conversation, which I think is important. There's also a lot of other stuff that is also important. Getting into that, Viva, before we go to that platform, where can people find you as we leave the YouTube platform?
If you put in Viva Fry into any search engine, it'll come up. What I particularly love is go look up drone bass fishing, and it's one of the happiest moments of my life.
I think I was there when you were kind of conceiving that plan, and you were with a little drone, and you were like fishing.
Oh
with
no,
it.
this was back in Canada.
Okay.
This is drone bass fishing. I'm the second search result that comes up, but Viva Fry all across the internet and vivabarneslaw.locals.com.
Yep,
for the
great
best locals
content, great political commentary as well. Always appreciate all the work you do, Martha.
Yeah, you can find me on X and Instagram at Bueno for Miami.
Tatiana.
Queen Tatiana on Twitter. My music is all over the internet. You can find it on TatianaMoroz.com. And also, please check out thecounterparty.com. January 25th and 26th here in Miami. We're going to be talking about homeschooling, wellness, security, Bitcoin, all sorts of things that are useful, much more so than government.
Steph
WRC on X.
All right. I think we already have a caller, unless there's going to be a first-time caller for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. So sign up for that. We're going to have a special video right after this one, a 10-minute one, where we are going to find out Viva's most controversial opinion. It's going to be interesting. So stay tuned for that and a lot more. As now, it looks like